Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. How's it going? Party people in the house. All right, what's going on with the cities? People's moving out. It's not looking good for these towers. Been overworking them. Got air scrubbers going on. I got roller coasters up the wazoo. Uh, we need to make people happy in these big towers if we expect them to stay. So we're going to do some remodeling. And remodeling is kind of the theme for it's actually like a Q&A because I had a couple questions come in about the last little video about, Keith Raniere and the brick house and all this kind of stuff. So I decided to do a little video a little bit sooner to address that stuff before next week. And in the meanwhile, put up a little community college here, which should develop some of my industry into higher level tech. We'll see what that looks like when it's all omega'd out. Omega is this thing I'm producing that's eventually should collapse the whole city from the inside out. We'll see how that works. And just might destroy some of these specializations, making too much money if I want the city to collapse. So maybe put in some more factories to overburden. And hope you guys enjoy. Without further ado, here's the Q&A from the last video. Hello again. Hello and welcome. I hope you all are having a wonderful time wherever you're at. Let's take a moment and let's check in. Let's see where we are. Not the conceptual place. Let's just be where we are with what we have. And a nice way to do that is to get comfortable. So, wherever you're at, make yourself comfortable. Make yourself at home. And we've been doing some breath work, mainly focusing on the center of our chest, the rising and the falling. As we take breaths in and out, we can notice the rising and the falling of our chest. Well, let's move that awareness up a bit. We can focus on that little space right below the tip of the nose. And just notice your breath going in and out from that little place. And take a couple deep breaths. As you're focusing on that little space below your nose, the little space tip at the tip of your nose, in and the out, is there anything that's coming up? Is there anything that you're aware of in your mind, like thoughts? Let those go. And let's see if we can focus on feelings. No need to react to the feelings, just notice. If your mind starts to attach thoughts to those feelings, simply let them go. Focus back on the breath. Focus in your body. Increase that awareness. It's a wonderful opportunity throughout the day. And you have these moments where you allow yourself to sit. It's an opportunity to check in to a real aspect. It's a fleeting aspect, but it's real. You're really here. You're really feeling. And open your eyes. Come back to the world. This world is it's perfect with you in it. You're a perfect person. As perfect as any person can be, with our flaws and our things that make us great. All of it together makes one perfect person, and that's you. There was a few questions that came up from the last talk. A little clarification on some of the topics I covered. So I just wanted to kind of go over some of that with everybody. First question, what if the window to your house is actually just a mirror? And this, I think, is referring to my brick house of reality analogy. And just to kind of go over that again, you can imagine that the bricks are your values. The way they're set up is a value structure. And that value structure is shaping your belief system. And so the style of your house, the way it looks, the way it functions, that's your belief. And the house itself is your reality. And we, as empty awareness, are in that house, and we're living in that house. And I was kind of going over, what the purpose of spiritual practice would be, and that is to create some sort of window to look outside and get out of that conceptual reality into more truth, I guess. So what if that window is actually just a mirror? Well, I guess, first off, this is not a perfect analogy. I don't think there's anything as a perfect analogy. I'm just trying to point us to just an idea. I'm just trying to point you to something. I don't think the window is actually a mirror. It'd be interesting because if you look into a mirror, you get the reflection of yourself, and that self is, I guess, the same as what would be outside of the reality. It's still yourself. But if the window's only a mirror, then that would mean that there's no outside. And if there's no outside, there's no inside. You need a outside for there to be an inside. And a lot of us don't even know that we're trapped inside of this reality that we've made for ourselves through the belief structures. So, a lot, I guess having a mirror in the house and thinking it's a window because it's looking at you it's almost like just another aspect of the reality that you've made up. It's not the trueness of the self. It's only an aspect or a reflection. And you're not an aspect. You are the beingness. And that's what I'm trying to point you to with the window. Hopefully you can use this concept, which again, these concepts are just traps, but hopefully you can use that to guide you towards escaping this house. So now you're seeing the house as just a bubble. You're not seeing it as, the end all be all, the only thing. Your point of view of reality not being the end all be all is really the point. That's the point here. But it's an interesting idea, Another question someone had said, you said Raniere made himself a trap in prison he legally can't get out of so far. What did you mean by so far? Well, what if Keith Raniere ended up breaking the FBI? What if it came out that FBI, tampered with evidence or did something illegal that caused his conviction, and then he gets released. He has a lot of lawyers. So what if this crack team of lawyers actually turned the correctional system on its head? They completely reform the judicial system, and Raniere gets out. Raniere would be like the real-life supervillain. It's like he's an evil mastermind. I don't know, who knows? There's a lot of experts who did come out and say the FBI, I don't know, allegedly manipulated evidence. I don't know what happened. I'm sure something illegal happened with Nexium. I don't know how much illegal stuff Keith Raniere was involved in. But, let's say they did tamper with evidence to get a conviction. So the child porn stuff that's out now, let's say that was tampered with and he didn't have that. Was the rest of the illegal activities he was doing enough for a life sentence? I don't really know. Does anyone else listen to Charlie Manson interviews and start agreeing with what he says? Just kidding. I'm just kidding on that. It's part of my bit. Alright, so next question. You said that your house will change the way it looks once you become realized or go outside the window. That you would be a psychopath if you went back to living in the old house. What did you mean by that? Well, everything inside your house of reality, it has a glimmer or reflection of yourself, right? Because it's based off of your beliefs and your value systems. So in that way, everything that you're seeing separate inside the house is really part of your own interior. When you start to identify with that separateness, that's when the realities like us versus them, good versus evil, victim versus perpetrator, etc. That's when those realities start to manifest, the dualities. And, of course, we're always going to identify with the better part of those dualities. We're not going to be like, oh, I'm the evil one. I'm the wrongdoer. At least not in the moment. In hindsight, we can look back and say, yes, I did a bad thing. But why, when we're doing it, I don't think people are really conscious of the games, the roles that they're playing inside of these games, So, I say a lot. I'm going to have to watch that. But, yeah, I hope that, when you get outside of that house and then you see the play roles, it is like a big play. Like, you've designed a wonderful drama, and while you're inside the home and you're identified with the separateness, you're like the good guy. And then once you go outside the home, you're like, damn, I was the good guy and the bad guy, and I was the play that was going on from those two aspects. And so if I went back into that house and I started to identify and say, oh, I'm a do-gooder and I'm going to vanquish the bad things, I would be neglecting a big part of my own truth. It's like kind of like, oh, I'm right-handed, so my left hand is evil and needs to go, and I chop my left hand off. There's going to be a lot of repercussions for that. And there's a lot of repercussions for people who identify with being just and righteous. You can do a lot of hurt under that mindset. So, these windows, they're good to look out, realize who you are, and hopefully looking out these windows enough times, coming back and being reminded, will allow you to step outside of the reality you've created. Get a little courage. Step out. You're not always right. But also, nothing can harm you out there. Once you step outside of your reality, you're free. You're free from whatever was causing you fear inside that house. And the fear, the hate, the negativity, the righteous path that you were taking, you look back at that and you open your heart with compassion. It's like Jesus said, forgive them for they know not what they do. You have to give yourself that same forgiveness. And then you see other people doing the shit that you were doing, and then you give them that same compassion and forgiveness. Because they're all you. They're working on all of their stuff, where they're at, and they will not it will be harder for them to let go of that stuff that's trapping them if they come out and they're not greeted with the loving kindness that is truly in your heart. So show compassion to these people. Show compassion to everybody. Think of somebody who is really against you, your values, who in your belief system you cannot accept. You say that person, they're not a good person, whoever it is. Now look at them as a picture on the wall, and next to that picture is you. And that wall that both these pictures are sitting on is the reality you've made up. You can't love your house by rejecting and not loving aspects of your house. Say, oh, I love my house so much. I'm so happy in it. I'm so safe. But my God, those window drapes, they're going to be the end of me. They're going to take me out, I swear. Like, the way they look, I just cannot. You bought those drapes. You put them up. They're your style. So then you have to ask the question, how are my values aligned where I have things in my reality that are causing me pain and hurt? What value do I have where there are things I'm rejecting? Why is hate and rejection and negativity, why is that on my value structure? Well, you certainly aren't your values. You aren't your beliefs or your reality. You are a transcendent, loving awareness for all the things that come into your house. That's what you are. So use your values to build a house that's comfortable for you, and get outside and make sure that it's not hurting anybody. All right. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and be well.